this afternoon. I'm Sydney. I'm a horticulturist here at Rogers Gardens, and today, in the spirit of Halloween, we're going to be talking about carnivorous plants. So a little bit about the history. They evolved in nutrient-deficient soil. So essentially, these plants had no access to what they needed to grow, and they evolved to find a different way to get them. And specifically, what the plants need is nitrogen. So first, I'm going to talk about the Venus flytrap, which we have right here, as you can see. And so, for care for the Venus flytrap, it needs full sun, and it needs to sit in a saucer with water. So it drinks from the bottom, and it needs to constantly have moisture. So you can place it in a bowl, just a regular potting saucer, and constantly have that filled up with water. So it's always absorbing that, staying nice and moist. And so Venus flytraps actually have a winter dormancy period. So as we're getting into fall, if you do have one at home, you may notice it dying back, which is completely normal for this time of year. Even here in Southern California, we do reach some low temperatures at night, so they will be entering a dormancy period. Next, we have the Nepenthes, which is also known as a pitcher plant. So the way that these absorb animal or prey is they fall into this pitcher here. And for care for these, they need full or partial sunlight. And for these, you need to water them overhead. So don't let them sit in a bowl of water the way that you would a Venus flytrap. They don't like that. So water them overhead like you would a typical plant. If some water ends up in the saucer underneath, that's all right, but don't let it sit for too long. And then once that water begins to evaporate, you can water it again. So it does need consistent moisture, but it shouldn't be sitting in it the way that other carnivorous plants do. And in terms of what they eat, the best thing to do is to just leave them outside and let them naturally catch predators. They do need to be fed live prey because the way that the traps work is they're triggered by movement. So while we're celebrating Halloween here and we do have some dead spiders laying around, you don't want to be feeding these to your carnivorous plants. They need movement in order to trigger the trap to close and to digest them. So I'm also going to talk about one of my favorite carnivorous plants, which is known as the toilet bowl pitcher. These plants we don't carry and they're not found anywhere near here, but essentially these plants have evolved to develop a relationship with the tree shrew. And essentially the pitcher is just a toilet for this shrew. And the way that it works is the plant produces a nectar on the flap for the pitcher, and the shrew is attracted to this nectar, and as they digest it, they sit on top of the bowl, and then their waste just falls into the pitcher, and that's their source of nitrogen. So it's really interesting to see that carnivorous plants don't just feed off of bugs, but they work with animals in their surroundings to get the nutrients that they need. We have a question.
Could you name that plant again, please?
So it's typically just called the toilet bowl pitcher. It is a Nepenthes variety. I believe the variety is Raha, but I will get back to you on that with a specific name. Any other questions? All right. So another plant that isn't technically carnivorous, but it does develop a relationship with animals in its ecosystem would be the Bromeliad. So we've got this Bromeliad here, which you may be able to see is actually coming to life. And so Bromeliads have tiny little pools that collect water. Because of the tight leaf structure, they can keep water in between the folds of their leaves. And in their natural habitats, frogs take over these pools, and then as things like mosquito larvae collect in there, those frogs that live in there feed off of it. So while the plant itself isn't actually eating the bugs or any of the animals, it does have its own little ecosystem, and within there, what it houses, such as these frogs, does eat off the bugs that fall in. And so as you can see, we're getting ready for Halloween here. We've got our real carnivorous plants. We've got carnivorous plants that you can even put candy in if you're worried about this one. It's a little too scary for you. But thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys learned a lot. And tomorrow, Sarah will be live streaming our edible gardening series, and she'll be talking about vegetables to grow in the cool fall season.
And also, we know that we've been having some sound issue qualities on this video. So if you have any questions with regard to carnivorous plants or care to ask Sydney anything at all, go ahead and let us know in the comment section and we'll get back to you.
Yes, we'll definitely get back to you with any questions that you may have. And thanks again for joining us.
Oh, hey, we do have one question.
Oh, we've got a question.
Yes. When the Venus flytrap dies down for the winter, what should they do with it? Will it come back?
Yeah, so it will absolutely come back. That's just, a lot of plants go through a dormancy period. So the best thing to do is just leave it sitting in some water. You can bring it inside and leave it somewhere that cools down at night. So if you've got a drafty window or a garage, you can leave it inside because it is important that it reaches those cooler temperatures at night. So bring it inside, leave it in some water, and let it get cool at nighttime.
Okay, Sydney, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.